Breathe in. Breathe out. Find balance. Hey guys, this is Chris from Drop Dice. So it is 11:50. Unfortunately, I'm a little behind today. This video will still be considered Community Saturday because I'm filming it right now, but it will probably be officially uploaded to YouTube on Sunday again. I don't know what's going on with my schedule. I'll have to figure it out and get these videos up earlier next week and in the future. So just kind of bear with me on that one. So this week's topic is going to be basically balance in general, if you didn't catch that from the intro. First, we're going to start off with a video that was posted on the 15th by Sam D. YouTube channel is called Chalice and Chains. I'm going to go ahead and link that inside the description below here. I'll link his video specifically, but once you get done with this video, please like, thumbs up, subscribe, share it, give him some feedback of your own, whatever the case may be. His channel, if I remember right, is fairly newer, like mine is. So go ahead and give him some support if you haven't seen his stuff before. So basically, inside his video, he said that there's a lot of people on YouTube that are putting up comments that are basically saying, "I've got 3 players. They're level 3. I've got this encounter planned. Is it too hard? Is it too weak? What kind of experience should I give them?" Etc. 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 Inside his video, he basically talks about how challenge ratings are kind of bunk and you shouldn't really use them. So I have 2 schools of thought on this one. If you want to play the game rules as written, there are rules for what your challenge ratings, well, not really in 5th edition. Challenge ratings aren't that important. What's important is experience economy. It tells you how to build an encounter based upon experience economy. And there are actually tools online, which I will find one and link inside here that does a good job of kind of outlaying it per the D&D 5th edition Dungeon Master's Guide instructions. Now, I do have a problem with the way the Dungeon Master's Guide and the Player's Guide kind of function. So let me start there and I'll explain why I don't think challenge rating encounters really matter all that much. So at the beginning of the Player's Handbook, I want to say it's like Chapter 1, the last couple pages, they talk about the pillars of D&D. And there's something along the lines of the social aspect, the explorative/discovery aspect, and then the combat aspect. They tell you that every game should have these, and that a good game should encompass at least these, and maybe it'll focus on one, and it'll shift views, and blah, blah, blah. But when you go to the Dungeon Master's Guide, they tell you, okay, here's a really detailed way about how to give experience for combat. And then you go and look for the other instructions for experience. And they mention that you can give experience for role-playing, but they don't mention anything, as far as I'm aware, about discovery or exploration at all in there, even though that's one of their pillars. And the little bit that they do talk about for social or role-playing, they don't even give you any details on how to do it either. They just say you can award some. I think it's a terrible way to go about it, to be honest. So for Dungeons & Dragons games, I tend to change it. Some game systems are more well-defined and make sense the way that they're written. And you'll find that if you play more games that maybe a different experience system works. For me, I play games that are a lot more exploratory and discovery-based. And so depending on how I'm feeling as the GM for those games, I will change how I'm doing experience. But here's a couple ideas for you so that you don't have to worry about challenge ratings and you can just build encounters that are fun. You can award experience based upon enjoyment or events, essentially. So give them experience for showing up. Yay, good times. You arrived. You didn't ghost out of this game on me, which I'll talk about later because that's annoying. You show up to this game, here's a little pocket change of experience. You play, you do some good RPing, here's some more. You do some great RPing later, awesome, here's some more. You guys have an interesting encounter, okay, here's some more. And you can do experience like that, and most of the time it's going to be arbitrary, to be honest. I don't have a set way to do it. If you want a set way to do it, you could probably do it by percentages and say like 10% for showing up, 10% for each memorable moment, special encounters or like big planned events that were like set pieces, if you will. Maybe they're 20%. Whatever you want to do, if you want to get that crazy into math. So here's another way you can do it. I've done this with Pathfinder. I told players, it doesn't matter how many orcs you kill or how many orcs you don't kill. This is how experience is working. If you show up on time, you get experience for that week. If you're level 1, it takes you 1 week's worth of experience, or 1 point, to go to level 2. Once you're level 2, you have to show up for 2 games, because each game is going to give you 1 point. So one week, 2 weeks, then boom, level 3. Now, if you notice, this is an exponential function, essentially. Going from levels 1 to 20, and for example, Pathfinder, is going to take well over a year of play. If you are willing to commit to that sort of game and would like slow progression, totally cool. It works. Some players are not really down for it because it is a pretty slow process. Just to kind of give you an idea, levels 1 to 3. You're going to show up for after your first week, you're going to be level 2. You're going to go to your second week, you're still level 2. You're going to go to your third week, you'll go to level 3 at the end of that game. The fourth week is going to be experience point 1. Fifth week, sixth week, seventh week. Oh, look, level 4. So that's, 7 weeks in a row there. Almost 2 months to get to level 4. Just to kind of give you a preview of it. Now, let's kind of jump forward a little bit. You're level 15 going to 16. That's going to be 16 weeks of gameplay before you gain a level. It can be a little extreme. If you want to try it, go for it. At higher levels, you may want to consider making weeks worth more. That way, it's more beneficial to your character or to your players. I did that for a store game to encourage attendance at the official store game. That's part of the reason we did it. It worked out okay. Another way you can do it is arbitrary experience, which is my favorite. Like, they'll play, and, they get done with the game, and I go, you guys did cool stuff today. 5,000 experience for everybody. All right, awesome. Have fun. See you next week. Or, you guys did basically nothing this week. You guys didn't really RP much. You didn't kill anything, and you kind of barricaded yourselves into a castle and talked for a couple hours about something that really didn't matter. 3,000 experience. Enjoy your day. And I'm pretty blunt with my players. I will tell them stuff like that, exactly like that example, and I'll be like, "Oh, you guys did awesome. This is fucking cool. That was a great battle. Here's 7,000 experience." Or I'll be like, "Yeah, you guys didn't really do much. I'm not even doing experience this week. I'll just tack it on to next week." That's usually my favorite tactic, is to not give experience when I feel like they haven't really accomplished much. And then the next week when they go out and they bust out and they accomplish things, I go, all right, so I'm going to give you a little more since I didn't give you any last week. And this time I'm going to give you 10,000 experience instead of the 7 that I was going to give you for today. Easy enough. That especially works when they're doing things in one game that will benefit the next game. Something you can try. Another one you can do is by story moments. Essentially, instead of giving experience, you give levels. Say, it's event-based, essentially. Say, there's orcs attacking a kingdom, and you have to save the kingdom. I'm not going to say how the kingdom is saved. I'm going to let the players figure that out. They could defeat all the orcs, or like refugee situation, move all the people out. They could divert the orcs and push them on somebody else, or whatever their brain comes up with. And when they defeat this orc first wave of the invasion, I'm going to give them level 2. And then they're going to go and try and figure out what's going on with the orcs. Well, when they go out there, they have their adventure. They kill a couple orcs. They discover some plans and some letters from the orc chieftain. They bring it back. They have it translated. They find out that they're getting pushed from the north by a different kingdom who's trying to push out basically all their savage problems. And they just happen to be being pushed into your kingdom. Bam, that's discovery. Here's a level. You go to level 3. And I'll play a game like that where it's entirely based upon, do I feel like they've accomplished things to progress the story? Here's a level. That one is again, arbitrary. You can outline it and make it like specific requirements. But I kind of like arbitrary, to be honest, because as a GM, it gives you the ability to shoot from the hip, and you can see if your players are enjoying the game, or if they feel like their levels are too far spaced out, like they've been playing for 6 weeks and haven't really moved forward, you can be like, all right, everybody gain a level or 2 levels if you feel like they did a lot, and they're just a little behind. That kind of system comes with experience. You just kind of shoot from the hip and make it feel right. The other part of balance that I want to talk about, Sam didn't bring this up in his video, but this is kind of my gripe here. So party balance and party dichotomy. I hate that stuff. For example, let's say I put a game up on the one-shot group or the W3, and I say W3 is not as bad with this that I've seen so far, but whatever. Let's say I put up a game on the one-shot group. I'm going to say, oh, I've got these orcs invading, and it's going to be a fun time. It's going to be classic D&D. You're just going to show up and have a good time. It's going to be a beer, pretzels type game. No big deal. I'll have the first guy show up, and he'll be like, yeah, I want to play this macho fighter who's a drow underling, whatever his backstory is. And then I'll have another player show up and go, oh, that's awesome. I'm going to be a bard who's School of Valor, and he's going to be this macho bard. He's going to be an attack bard. Okay. And then I get player number 3 who shows up and he goes, oh, I'm going to play a barbarian orc, and I'm just going to be awesome. I'm going to take Path of the Bear, and I'm going to be like super awesome beefy guy. Okay. My final 4th player shows up and he goes, well, I was going to play a warlock, pack a blade, and be like a magic user fighter guy, but we've got a lot of fighters, so I think we should do some party balance here. We need a cleric and a mage. And then he doesn't say what he's going to do. That bothers the piss out of me. If you have a problem with the game's structure as far as classes are concerned, then fix it yourself or don't complain. My preference for anybody who joins my games is play whatever the fuck you feel like. Let me clarify. You get a thought in your brain and say, hey, it'd be really awesome if I played a chaos sorcerer who eats flowers, and he's an elf, and I'm going to be racist. Rawr. You fucking go, bro. Do it. Honestly, I hate it so much when players I can ignore, but GMs are kind of different. When you have somebody at the table who goes, no, you guys need to have a mage, a fighter, and a thief at least. And then once we get those covered, we need to have a tank. Our fighter can be our DPS guy. And then once we get those covered, we can have a warlock or whatever fun class you wanted to do. I fucking hate that shit. You guys are not playing SEAL Team 6 and fucking Fantasia or whatever your fucking world is called. I probably should have disclaimed at the beginning of this video, I'm going to curse a bunch. I'll probably insert a little slide that says that, but I don't give a fuck. Essentially, it's hampering other people's enjoyment by putting this dogma that you've been fed with a spoon forever about how you need to have this and you need to have that. This is not a damn video game. You don't need healers. In fact, you could have a very interesting game where everyone is a fighter. It's awesome. Everyone's a dwarf. Cool. Don't care. Awesome. Play it up. Like, in fact, if you play in a game that's like that, you're going to notice that you're going to have a whole different experience. And you may find that you are going to enjoy that better because you have a weakness. Like, if you make SEAL Team 6 in fucking D&D or whatever your game is, it doesn't make sense. The only games that really make sense for that are A, military games, or B, Shadowrun, because it makes sense. Thieves games, you're probably going to have like heist situations with people who have specific skill sets. But for a regular adventuring party, chances are when you're first starting off, you're probably not going to be the goddamn A team, honestly. I mean, look at the books that are out there. There are some bad examples, like for me, Lord of the Rings, I think is kind of a better example for what I mean. If you look at it, they don't have any mages except for Gandalf, who's kind of a GM fiat anyways. He's a GM NPC, to put it bluntly. But if you look at the regular party of them, they're mainly martial characters. They don't have any healers, they don't have any casters, and they have a lot of, like, if you were to play that game, you'd probably have a lot of fun. And then there are some bad examples, like Record of Lodoss War, which is one of my favorite animes. They've got they've got the D&D A team. They've got a cleric. They've got a barbarian. They've got a knight. They've got a thief. A couple other characters that are in there that I'm just forgetting, but I mean, they go past challenges very easily because they have someone who's specifically for every single situation they could come across. And honestly, that's boring to me. I get bored if all of my games feel like I'm playing the exact same thing, which is the A team over and over and over and over. I like games where, we're a bunch of wizards and we're discovering an arcane phenomenon in the world. Yeah, there's a war going on and a bunch of shit over there, but that doesn't bother me. I'm a wizard and I'm trying to discover this arcane phenomenon. That's a cool game. Like, you don't have to be A team getting involved in world leveling situations all the time. It's kind of boring to keep playing the same thing over and over. I mean, if I told you you could play Zelda for the rest of your life, but it's only going to be Ocarina of Time, you'll probably play it 3 or 4 times, but you will get bored of it eventually. Even the most diehard of Zelda fans can begrudgingly admit to me that, like, playing the exact same video game over and over with no other choice as far as what you're doing is boring. It just is. Final Fantasy would be a great example. If you play Final Fantasy, they are all basically the same, but they have a really neat world to explore, which is what makes them special and different each time. And a lot of people for D&D, they think the same thing. Problem with D&D is a lot of people play pretty much straight out of the book. They don't change their environment all that much. If you have a classic European adventures game and we build the A team, I've played an innumerable amount of classic European adventures with the A team. It's boring. Sorry, it is. You can have a really compelling story within it, which is neat, but I'm going to be a little bored of my character, especially combat. Combat will become very predictable because I know that the rogue is going to move in and going to flank. My fighter is going to do this and set up the flank. My cleric is going to be there to back up my fighter and heal him. Even if the environment changes, there's stuff that we know that we can do, blah, blah, blah. I like games where you start off, and let's say you have 3 fighters and a barbarian. You guys are screwed when it comes to healing, so your best bet is to be offensive as hell and figure out your tactics. Because the faster you put them down, the less likely you are to get injured. And yeah, eventually you're going to learn tactics that work with your group, but it's not going to be, okay, we're showing up, I know he's playing a bard, I know I'm playing a fighter, I know so-and-so is playing a cleric. We already know how combat should go. We already know how the tactics should go. Let's do this. I like exploring the character and their situation. So for me, I don't like it when people try and force that on them. If you're a DM who does this, shame on you, and you should stop it immediately. Because you are only setting yourself up for failure. Stop forcing your players to play the A team, because honestly, you will find that if you played a game that was all fighters, all mages, or all melee classes, all range classes, you're going to discover things that you couldn't do in other games that are going to be fun. So if you've never done it before and you think I'm full of bunk or I'm just lying to you, just fucking try it, for the love of God. Just try it once. Let your players create whatever the hell they want. And then if they don't have a healer, give them chances to buy potions, find potions, get themselves a hireling that can heal them, give them out-of-combat healing options. Like, if they don't have something, players who are smart are going to ask, hey, we don't have a healer. What can we do to fix this, to the GM? And you can explore it in RP. And let's say, you're playing Shadowrun. You don't really need a healer inside that game. It makes it a lot easier if you do, but you can carry around a shit ton of med kits and have everybody practice medicine and stuff like that. And you can do that with any damn game, Pathfinder, D&D included. Pathfinder's a little harder because there's no built-in healing when it comes to medicine checks, but that's a complaint I have about pretty much every fantasy setting, is that medicine does nothing. It's kind of a waste of a skill. I don't know why it's listed as a skill if it does nothing except for, like, resuscitate someone from dying. Whatever. Should do more than that. I mean, hell, climb checks, technically I can use rope at the same time as my climb check, and it can be used for rope climbing, mountain climbing, blah, blah, blah. For healing, if the only option I have is to wake you up from being passed out, from being knocked out, it's kind of stupid. So that's kind of my big spiel on balance. So I wanted to talk about what's been going on with the community just real quick here at the end. Basically, there's been the relaunch of Tabletop Terrors. I mentioned it in the previous post. I'm going to throw another link over to their channel here. Their new game, the Copper Jackals, I've been asked to be a moderator of the group, so I will be doing that. And you guys, if you happen to be part of the group, you'll see me doing that. Just kind of jumping in to talk about rules stuff and basic mechanics, because there's a lot of newer players in the group. If you do happen to see someone who's got questions, feel free to help them out, because any bit of help that you do within the community will be seen and appreciated. So with that, if you have any interest in playing a game that is essentially, from the description anyways, going to be the Expendables meets D&D, go ahead and check out the Copper Jackals. A lot of people have been writing expansive backgrounds. Don't think that that's a restrictor. If you're not very strong in that, or you're a new player, don't feel intimidated. We've got a ton of new players, a ton of people that that are interested in kind of developing some skills and things like that for role playing. So just come in and join us and have some fun. As well, I mentioned that I was going to be doing Souls of Steel on the channel. I went ahead and picked out a date. Let me go ahead and pull that up. The game is called Loose Lips Sink Ships. It is set for May 29th. It is a OSG group one-shot. There's going to be a W3 group one-shot, which I haven't pitched over there, but I know I've got some people that are interested. And then I will be doing a third group, which right now I've got 2 people in Europe that are interested. If I happen to have some more people from the European time zones or are willing to meet with the European time zones, that would be perfect, because I feel like they get kind of left out because their schedules, like when we play, sometimes it's like 4 in the morning for them, and a lot of them are troopers and will be up at that time. But I'd like to make it a little bit more available to them, so it'll probably be like a Saturday day game. That way it's kind of Saturday night for them, or whatever I can work out. If you happen to be interested in that one, or let's say Loose Lips Sink Ships here for the OSG fills up, keep in mind there will be that second one for the W3 group. And I intend to try to collect new players for each one of these, so 12 players will be selected in total, or at least that's the dream. So yeah, it's going to be fun, and I'll have it posted up to the channel again May 29th, and I will be doing a live cast of that. All right, so the other thing I want to talk about is a little bit of a guilty pleasure for me as well. If you guys do happen to be part of the RPG W3 group, what I want you to do is go ahead and find Heath Wanamaker. I may be saying his last name wrong there, but the reason I say you should find him is he is going to be putting up a game of Numenera that is Dieselpunk, and the inspiration pictures alone make it look awesome. He's doing a gauging interest post, and if he gets people who are interested in it, he's going to run the game, and he's one of these guys that whether it's 1 player that shows up or 4 players that shows up, he is going to play the game regardless. So if you want to play Numenera, join that game, put in your request for interest, and give him some support. He's been around the group for a while. He's taken a sabbatical for a while, but he's come back, and this is kind of his coming back to the group game. I'm going to be playing it. If you happen to be one of my viewers, go ahead and jump in there and join us for it. I'd love to play with some of my viewers. And I think it's going to be awesome. Numenera is a really simple to learn system. It's honestly easier than Dungeons & Dragons from the looks of it. I mean, I could be wrong, and I may find out while playing it since I haven't played it before, but so far, reading it, it looks really good and easy to pick up. If it turns out that that's a good game and I like it, you may see me run some Numenera games in the future. Once this Souls of Steel 3-part one-shot thing is done, I'll probably pick out a different game and do a couple of adventures like that. I'm going to be starting some summer classes the next month here, which will probably limit my weekday times, but my weekends are probably still going to be open, so we may see some stuff like for Saturday nights. My home campaign is probably going to be transitioning to a Tuesday night basis, and I mentioned in the last video that I'm going to talk to them and see if they want to be recorded. If that comes up, I'll let you guys know. All right, so that is pretty much everything I got for this week. It went a little longer than I expected. And anyways, if you've got any opinions on this, please feel free to leave it in the comments section. Give us a like, thumbs up, subscribe, share it with your friends, comment to Sam's videos, my videos, find a random person on YouTube and stalk them instead of me. Just stuff like that. You know, like support the community. in any way that you can. I mean, if that means you're going to kind of be quiet and kind of stalk a community because you don't happen to have the time to play and live vicariously through the videos of other people playing, then do it. Find videos of other people playing. In fact, let me see if I can find him real quick here. That I just started watching a game of Dragon Age by angelarts on YouTube, and this guy put a lot of work into wrapping up his character backgrounds and lining them up. He's got 65 videos in total for his RPG or for his Dragon Age RPG tabletop campaign. And I'll put a link to his channel inside the description as well. But so far it's been pretty good. I haven't made it exceptionally deep into the series, but I've been putting it on while I'm doing other things around the house, and it's been really entertaining. I'd recommend checking that out. Roleplay R&D, if you haven't checked them out, they're another interesting channel. And if you are interested in Savage Worlds, let me know. I've got an awesome one of Conan, which if I find the link, I'll throw it inside here as well. It's a live play of Conan, but they do it in an old radio style, and you don't hear like the mechanics of the game. It's just like a narrative of the game, and it's really good. If there's nothing else on this list that you actually pay attention to, check out that Conan game. It is so good. There's a caster in there named Mofir. My favorite caster in that whole, or my favorite character in that whole game. Mofir is awesome, and he's more of a there's different types of players out there. There's the kind of players that are a little bit more like me, where you do like role playing. You're not a very heavy role player, and then there's the actor type characters or players rather, who are a little bit more over the top. And I think he finds a really happy medium for me, because I generally don't like a really flowery, over the top actor style of play. But the guy who does Mofir does a really good example of what I find as a good example of actor style role play. Definitely check them out, and if you like their video, again, check out their other content. They've got other games and stuff like that available. I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this video, and I will see you guys at the gaming table. All right.